Welcome to the Battle of the Conferences. Ever wondered which conference can put together the best NFL roster? That's what we're going to find out. We take the best players from every team in each conference, build an NFL roster, and pit those teams against each other in a bracket format. The last conference standing will be crowned champion, which means absolutely nothing. Let the battle begin. So next up in the ring is the Pac-12 and Conference USA, and this time there's not anything to explain, it's all simple. What I should mention, of course, is the left team gets their scores at the top, the right team at the bottom. And let's jump straight into it with the quarterback position, and we take a look at the Pac-12 here, and we've got a load of quarterbacks not even on here. We've got Aaron Rodgers out of Cal, we've got Andrew Luck out of Stanford, Marcus Mariota out of Oregon, and that is against Conference USA's one selection here of Joe Webb out of UAB. Now there were some more quarterbacks we could have had there, but they're all kind of irrelevant. Joe Webb we like because it's a quarterback that plays special teams, but of course Pac-12 takes the point here for the quarterbacks. So next up, the running backs in Pac-12 is represented by Marshawn Lynch out of Cal, Jonathan Stewart out of Oregon, CJ Anderson out of Cal against Conference USA's Alfred Morris out of Florida Atlantic, Lance Dunbar out of North Texas, and Jalen Richard out of Southern Mississippi. Again, the point here quite clearly goes to Pac-12. So then we come on to the fullbacks, where Conference USA actually has a fighting chance with Jamize Olawale out of North Texas going up against Marcel Reese out of Washington and Derek Coleman out of UCLA. And now Conference USA also has Devin Johnson, who isn't available to put into this team. But Marcel Reese, of course, was cut in favor of Jamize Olawale, and I'm actually going to go ahead and give it to him there. Both in their prime, I likely would have given Marcel Reese the advantage, but we can say here Jamize Olawale the better fullback, and we get a point for Conference USA. So then on to the tight end position, and I gotta say Conference USA surprised me here. Vance McDonald out of Rice, Luke Wilson out of Rice, and Lee Smith out of Marshall. A couple of other half-decent tight ends as well. However, they never stood a chance. Pac-12, Rob Gronkowski out of Arizona, Zach Ertz and Kobe Fleener out of Stanford. I mean, even without those Stanford guys, the point here will clearly go to Pac-12. So then onto the wide receiver group, and Conference USA starts strong with T.Y. Hilton out of Florida International, and then drops off a little bit. J.J. Nelson out of UAB. Then we've got guys like Lucky Whitehead out of FAU, Quinton Patton out of Louisiana Tech, and Aaron Dobson out of Marshall. However, Pac-12 starts strong, finishes strong. Brandon Cooks out of Oregon State, Doug Baldwin out of Stanford, Deshaun Jackson and Marvin Jones out of Cal, as well as Keenan Allen out of Cal. It's not hard to see where the point goes here. Depth just kills Conference USA. One wide receiver isn't quite enough to beat five. Then we come on to the final offensive position group, the offensive line, and I think Pac-12 here not just easily beats Conference USA, might just be the best group we're going to see. Tyron Smith out of USC, Andy Levitre out of Oregon State, Alex Mack out of Cal, Kyle Long out of Oregon, and Mitchell Schwartz out of Cal are pretty much the best starters we have there. But then David Bakhtiari, Nate Solder out of Colorado behind him, Andrus Peat and David DeCastro guards out of Stanford, and then Ryan Khalil out of USC and Max Unger out of Oregon. Just ridiculously good players absolutely everywhere there. And then we look over at Conference USA. They got Chris Clark starting at left tackle, Chris Hubbard at left guard, don't have a center, Josh Walker at right guard, then right tackle looks a bit better with DeMar Dotson out of Southern Miss and Jordan Mills out of Louisiana Tech, but this line obviously does not compare to Pac-12. Pac-12 takes the final offensive point. So then we have the defense, and we start with the defensive line. And now Conference USA, again, not bad. We've got Jimmy Staten out of Middle Tennessee, Vernon Butler out of Louisiana Tech with Justin Ellis out of Louisiana Tech as well, Christian Covington out of Rice, Vinnie Curry out of Marshall, and then the world's worst teammate, Enan Parley out of Louisiana Tech, and that completes their defensive line. Then we move over to the Pac-12, and I couldn't decide on starters here. Everson Griffin out of USC, Jarrell Casey out of USC, DeForest Buckner out of Oregon, and then at the defensive tackle slash nose tackle position, we've got Brandon Mebane out of Cal, Haloti Nyata out of Oregon, Leonard Williams out of USC, and Cameron Jordan out of Cal on the other side. Clear point here goes to Pac-12. So with the defensive line out of the way, we move on to the inside linebackers, and to be fair, Conference USA starts strong. Now, we do cheat a little bit for them. They've got Craig Robertson. We give them Zachary Orr, who, of course, has now actually retired. Those two guys out of North Texas. Albert McClellan out of Marshall. Adarius Lanton out of Florida Atlantic. And then we move over to Pac-12. They've got more than we could even fit in here, but the guys we do put in, Vontaze Burfict out of Arizona State, Eric Kendricks out of UCLA, Dion Buchanan out of Washington State, Brian Cushing out of USC. Another clear point here to Pac-12, although Conference USA put up a half-decent fight. Then we have the outside linebackers, and nobody stands a chance here. First of all, Conference USA does alright actually. Neville Hewitt and Jamie Collins, so Neville Hewitt out of Marshall, Jamie Collins out of Southern Miss, but Pac-12 Terrell Suggs out of Arizona State, Kiko Alonso out of Oregon, Nick Perry out of USC. On the other side, Clay Matthews out of USC, Lorenzo Alexander out of Cal, Anthony Barr out of UCLA, and it goes way deeper than that. Those are just the guys we could fit in. This point, again, goes to Pac-12. And then the cornerbacks. Why not start with Pac-12? We have Richard Sherman out of Stanford, you got Sean Smith out of Utah, Marcus Peters out of Washington, Demarius Randall out of Arizona State, Steven Nelson out of Oregon State. And I do want to mention Desmond Trufant, who is also from Washington. I didn't include him just so we've got all different guys out of different colleges. We then look at Conference USA. We've got Philip Gaines and Bryce Callahan out of Rice, DeJuan Smith and Keith Reesa out of FAU, and Darrell Roberts out of Marshall. And now a lot of Chiefs in this one, but it's quite clear here that the point goes to Pac-12. And they could win it with just Richard Sherman, Marcus Peters, or Sean Smith, but they have all three. And then the final position group, the safeties. And now, I did think Conference USA had a chance here. I did them first, and they've got Quinton Depps out of the University of Texas at El Paso. They've got Kevin Byard out of Middle Tennessee. They've got Jonathan Cyprien out of FIU, Andre Sendejo out of Rice, and then Sherrod Niesman out of FAU as well. And I thought they had a good chance here, but then Pac-12 have Eric Weddle out of Utah, Patrick Chung, TJ Ward out of Oregon, and TJ McDonald out of USC. And now it is still close, to be honest, and I almost lean towards giving it to Conference USA, but I think Pac-12 there is just a little bit deeper and takes the point as well to finish this off. They take the final point, they win the entire thing. They win with 10 points to 1. They could have won the fullback one, they could have lost the safety one. Nobody, of course, is surprised by these results. That is, of course, how these early rounds will go as big-time conferences go up against smaller ones, and for the next episode, we'll be looking at the AAC against the Big Ten.